It's Mrs. Ferris from Wood Library, and let's have some bedtime stories. Bernard and I are ready, and we hope you are too. So let's have our first story, and you can tell Bernard picked it out. It's about a bear. This is called Where is Bear? It's by Leslea and Newman with illustrations by Valerie Gorbachev. Looks like it's all kinds of animals. And it is published by Voyager Books, which is a division of Harcourt. And it's a rhyming story. Who wants to go play hide and seek? Everyone hide. Bunny, don't peek. So with eyes shut tight so she can't see, Bunny counts out 1, 2, 3. Fox sneaks behind a fallen log. Oops, she almost sat on Frog. And where is Turtle? Well, it's hard to tell if that's a stone or is it turtle shell. What do you think? Can you tell which one he is? This one. Can Chipmunk fit behind that twig? I don't think so. She's too big. Skunk digs out a great big hole and hides beside a friendly mole. Ant and beetle slip below the big black shiny wing of crow. Ladybug flies across the lake to hide beneath a rock with snake. Now all are found except for Bear. No one sees him anywhere. How many animals are looking for him? Do you think we could count them? Let's start over here with this little bug. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A dozen animals are looking for Bear, and he's nowhere to be found. Beetle asks, where can he be? We've got to find Bear instantly. Frog leaps up on a pile of rocks to look for Bear along with Fox. Turtle and Chipmunk rush to seek the missing Bear up near the creek. Mole hurries to catch up with Skunk, who peers behind an old tree trunk. Is Bear there? I don't think so. Ladybug rides on Snake's long tail as they explore a curvy trail. Ant and beetle search the weeds. Crow flies high above the reeds. The animals all gather round. Oh no, cries Snake. Bear's still not found. Turtle, Skunk, and Bunny shout. Come out, Bear, come out, come out. Could Bear be hurt? Could Bear be sick? Or could this be an old bear trick? There's one place left where Bear might be, but no one wants to look and see. It's cold and damp and dark as night. It fills the animals with fright. Who is feeling very brave? Who will go inside this cave? Bunny says, we'll go as one. That's the way it must be done. And who's that sleeping over there? Wake up now, you silly bear. He went to take a nap. Crow and Fox give Bear a hug, and here's a kiss, says Ladybug. Bear shouts, who wants to play again? He shuts his eyes and counts to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. That sleepy bear begins to snore. I guess that's the end of that game. Do you like to play hide and seek? If you do, don't take any naps. All right, well, shall we do a finger play? Which one would you like to do? We could do one. Well, let's do the one about the bear going over the mountain. Can you sit up real tall? Because you're going to be the mountain. And put your hand on one shoulder, and you're going to climb up over the mountain. Here we go. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. To see what he could see. To see what he could see. And you know what he saw? Put your bear back up. The other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. But I see another bear story here. And this is called Please, Please the Bees. And it's written and illustrated by Gerald, Kelley. And published by Albert Whitman and Company. There's Bear out in his yard, lying in a hammock, reading a book, and having a cup of tea. Benedict was a creature of habit. He liked to do the same thing every day. Every morning, he woke up at the same time. Every morning, he stretched. Can you stretch? Doesn't it feel good? He scratched. Can you scratch? He yawned a great yawn. And every morning, the bees delivered 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 jars of honey. Benedict ate the same breakfast he'd eaten since he was just a fuzzy cub. Toast with honey and tea with extra honey. Next came his daily routine, practicing his violin, perfecting his honey cake recipe, knitting, and running errands. At night he read, and then he'd have just one last cup of honey tea before bed. Life was sweet. Until one morning, things weren't the same. In fact, something was terribly unsane. Something terribly unsane had happened. Look. Do you see 3 jars of honey on his deck? No, just empty jars. There was no more honey. The bees had gone on strike. Do you know what that means? That means they're not going to do any more work. There's one of the bees with a sign saying, on strike. Well, Benedict's breakfast wasn't the same without honey. Without his honey tea, well, he couldn't knit. And practice, was dreadful. He didn't even bother with the errands. Benedict became deeply discouraged. Just then, he heard someone say, "Hey, you, in the fur coat." It was a very, very small bee with a remarkably loud voice. "We need to talk," said the bee. "Talk?" grumbled Benedict. "I let you all live in my yard, and all I ask is a few jars of honey. You should be grateful, not go on strike." "A few jars," said the bee. "Buddy, we deliver 3 jars of honey to you every day, every month, every year. Do the math, Einstein. That's a lot of honey." "The hive is a wreck," the bee continued. "It's all we can do to keep the walls from falling in. The roof leaks, the wind blows through the cracks, and the last 3 queens up and quit on us because of the lousy working conditions." Well, the bee showed Benedict the garden. "Look," said the bee, "weeds everywhere. We have to fly miles away just to find enough flowers to make our honey. So we voted to strike." "You're taking us for granted," the bee declared. "You want honey? Well, things need to change, and it's up to you, Bear." And with that, the very small bee flew off. Well, the thought of losing his honey sent a chill down Benedict's spine. He had a lot to think about. "Maybe I've been too selfish," he said to himself. "I never thought about what the bees need, but how am I going to make this right?" So he did some research, and then he did some shopping. And he did a lot of work. He weeded and hammered and planted and just cleaned things up. Benedict even learned how to harvest honey. "I suppose it's a bit rude to expect them to do it all by themselves," he thought. And finally, he was ready to show the bees all the work he'd done. What would they think? He held his breath as he waited, and then he heard the remarkably loud voice of the very small bee. "Drop the signs!" he shouted. "Girls, it's time to get back to work." I think they liked what he did. And these days, Benedict is still a creature of habit. He still has his daily routine, but he doesn't take the honey for granted anymore. He knows his life is sweet, but now it's even sweeter. For everyone. Well, do you think we could do a finger play about a bee or beehive? Can you make a fist with your hand? Just like that? Here is a beehive. But where are the bees? Well, they're hiding inside where nobody sees. Let's count them as they come out of the hive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what bees do when they come out of their hive, don't you? They buzz. Buzz. And then they go back in their hive. Well, we're going to have another story. No bears in this one, at least as far as I remember. This is called The Princess and the Frogs. It's written by Veronica Bartles with illustrations by Sarah Palacios. And it is published by Balzer and Bray. And do you know any stories about princesses and frogs? Do you know what usually happens when a princess kisses a frog? Well, let's find out if that's what's going to happen here, because there's our princess. Princess Cassandra should have been the happiest princess in the world. She had hundreds of dresses and thousands of books and servants to bring her anything she wanted. There was only one thing she didn't have: a friend. "I want a pet that matches my favorite green dress," she said. "And we'll swim and jump and play all day. And at night, he will sit on my pillow and sing to me." Well, the royal pet handler searched for a perfect pet, but, well, it wasn't easy. The mouse was too squeaky. The kitten, well, refused to swim. The hippo wouldn't jump at all, and none of them were green. "I need a pet that's just right," Cassandra said. So the royal pet handler searched the mountains and valleys, rivers and streams, until he discovered a little green frog with bumpy brown spots for the princess to love. There he is. "Oh, he's perfect," Cassandra declared. So the princess and the frog raced through the castle, jumped rope in the courtyard, and sampled treats in the kitchen. And after dinner, Cassandra tucked her new best friend into bed. "Good night, Froggy," she said, and she kissed his bumpy green head. Whoosh! The frog turned into a prince. He bowed and kissed Cassandra's hand. "Oh, thank you, Princess," he said. "Let us be married at once." Well, she just laughed. "Princes aren't pets. I want a frog." And she sent him to work with the royal pastry chef. Well, once again, the royal pet handler searched the forests and meadows, ponds and lakes until he discovered a shiny green frog with smooth, soft skin for the princess to love. "He's perfect," Cassandra declared. And the princess and the frog leaped across the moat and gathered lilies from the pond and visited horses in the stables. And after dinner, Cassandra tucked her new best friend into bed. "Good night, Froggy." And she kissed his shiny green head. Whoosh! The frog turned into a prince. He smoothed the wrinkles from his suit and smiled at himself in the mirror. "Oh, the spell is broken. We can be married right away." Well, Cassandra frowned. "Princes aren't pets. I want a frog." So she sent him to work for the royal stable master. Well, word of Cassandra's search spread, and one by one people brought frogs to the palace. But each turned into a prince when Cassandra kissed him goodnight, and soon she ran out of jobs for them. "I don't need help," Cassandra said. "I'll find the perfect frog myself." So she searched the pond among the lotus blossoms and lily pads until she discovered a great green frog with a bright blue belly. "He's perfect," Cassandra declared, but the frog disappeared into the tall rushes on the bank. "Oh, I love hide and seek," she said. So the princess explored every cranny and nook until she found the frog in a clump of cattails. She scooped him up and carried him home. Well, after dinner, Cassandra tucked her new best friend into bed, but when she tried to kiss his head, he hopped away. Well, the great green frog with the bright blue belly was the best hide-and-seek player ever. Each time Cassandra found him, he hid again. Finally, she caught him sleeping under her throne. "There you are, Froggy." She scooped him up into a hug and then kissed his great green frog head. Whoosh! "But I liked being a frog," the prince said. "Oh, princes aren't pets," Cassandra cried. But princes were everywhere. They were sprawled across the royal beds and using her dresses for kites' tails. They were smudging sticky fingerprints on the best books in the library. It was terrible. "I can have fun all by myself," the princess declared. So she sent all the princes away. Cassandra played in the empty courtyard. She read books in the silent library. But even her favorite green dress didn't make her happy anymore. And she still didn't have a friend. Now one day, Cassandra discovered a bedraggled little prince sniffling in the garden. He hadn't gone away. "I have nowhere to go," he said. Princess Cassandra sighed. "Well, you can't stay here. Princes aren't pets." "Well, I don't want to be a prince," he sat on the steps and he sobbed. Cassandra wiped his tears with her handkerchief. "Oh, I'm sorry." And then she kissed his curly head. Splosh! The prince turned into a great green frog with a bright blue belly. Princess Cassandra scooped him up into a giant hug. "Oh, I love you, Froggy," she said. And the princess and the frog lived happily ever after, as long as she remembered not to kiss his great green head. That's the princess and the frogs. Well, do you think you could show me your 5 fingers? Well, we're going to pretend those 5 fingers are frogs to go with that story. There were 5 green and speckled frogs who sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs, yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 4 green speckled frogs, globe, globe. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs, yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green speckled frogs, globe, globe. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs, yum, yum. Now one jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green speckled frogs, globe, globe. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs, yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there is 1 green speckled frog, globe, globe. Do you think we could sing this verse fast? Let's try. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs, yum, yum. Now he jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are no green speckled frogs. Well, our next story is about a dinosaur, and this is called Bigger Than You. This is a book by, let me make sure I say it right, Hyewon Kyung. Did the illustrations as well, and it's published by Greenwillow Books. Now, I don't know if you can see what that is. That's a tree, and it's balanced on a rock. Kind of looks like a seesaw, doesn't it? Teeter-totter. Who wants to play with me? I'm bigger than you. Well, I'm bigger than you. 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 Whoomp. I'm more terrible than you. Roar. And I'm your mother. Mom! Now, are you all ready to play together nicely? Who wants to play with them on their prehistoric playground? The big was the Dimetrodon, and bigger was a Minmi. Massive was a Verazinosaurus. Some of these I'm not familiar with. An immense one was an Iguanodon. An enormous one was a Triceratops. A huge one, you know that one, don't you? Tyrannosaurus Rex. And the biggest was the Brachiosaurus. And their seesaw, or their teeter-totter, was just a simple machine. So that was not only a dinosaur story, but a little bit of science thrown in too. Well, I think it's probably time for our bubble gum, so reach in your pocket, and remember, if you don't have a real pocket, just pretend you do, because we're looking for a piece of pretend bubble gum. I want you to take a look at it, and if it has a wrapper on it, you certainly don't want to eat that, so unwrap it, throw your wrapper in the trash, pop your gum in your mouth, and chew it up maybe about 10 or 15 chews until it's soft and squishy and ready to have something disgusting done with it. Here we go. I didn't count how many chews. I think it's ready. Put your hand out, and on the count of 3, spit your gum and only your gum into your hand. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's disgusting. And take your other hand and clap it right on top. And now you've got sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your chin. Do we leave it there? No way. Say the word unstick with me and we'll get it off. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your arm. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your nose. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your back. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your cheek. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your knee. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on mom or dad, or grandma, or grandpa, or whoever's around. Unstick. Come on back. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your toe. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum. Time to throw it in the trash. And we're going to finish up with our books with this one called Bedtime for Monsters. It's written and illustrated by Vere and published by Henry Holt and Company. Do you ever wonder if somewhere, not too far away, there might be monsters? Because supposing there are monsters, do you think this monster might be licking his lips and thinking about you? And if this monster is thinking about you, maybe he's thinking about you in an eating you up kind of way. I hope not, because he's coming to find you right now. Ring-a-ding. And as he bicycles bumpily through a dark and terrible forest, bump, bumpity, bump, do you think he's smiling because he remembered to pack his knife and fork? And as he crosses the gloopy schloopy swamp, gloop, gloop, schloop, do you think he's imagining just how good you'll taste all covered with ketchup? And as he tiptoes through thorns and thistles, scritch, scratch, ouch, do you think he'll decide you'll taste even more delicious, squished, and then squashed onto hot buttered toast. And at this very moment, as he climbs up the cold and snowy mountains, getting closer and closer to you, do you think he'll be feeling very hungry indeed? You're not scared, are you? Because if he is feeling very hungry indeed, while he searches high and low and up and down and in and out and over, all over town, maybe you'll hear his big, empty tummy grumbling and grumbling. And if you do hear a rumbling and a grumbling, might you also hear a creak, creak, creak as he starts to climb the stairs? And as he opens your bedroom door, do you think he's licking his lips because he wants to gobble you up? Oh no, it's much worse than that. This monster wants to, he wants to give you a disgustingly sloppy goodnight kiss. Because, well, it's bedtime for monsters everywhere. Big ones like him, little ones just like you. Did you really think he'd eat you up? How silly. Although, you could leave out a little bedtime snack, just in case. Looks like monsters like milk and cookies, just in case you want to know. Well, can you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes? Can you wiggle your shoulders? And how about your nose? Can you wiggle your elbows and slap your knees and stretch, 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 and then get ready, please, because it's time for our flannel board story. Let me move Bernard over here a little bit. And this is when my lighting always goes very crazy. Let's see if we can get it fixed a little bit. Well, this is Dog. Let's get him up here. Is he in a good spot for you? Move him a little closer. And as you can see, he is white with one black spot on his left ear. Now at breakfast, Dog sat under the table as usual and splat. A drop of red jam landed on his back. So now Dog has two spots, a red spot of jam and his own black spot. Well, after breakfast, Dog ran outside and he slipped past the man who was painting the front door. And my goodness, I don't know where it went. He was painting it blue, and there should be some blue to put on his back. I don't know. Maybe the man ran out of paint. But anyway, Dog ran on outside, and then he ran to the park and he rolled in the grass and he got, grass stains on himself. So now he has, well, 3 spots on his back. The green grass one, the red jam one, and his own black spot. Well, he followed a little boy who was eating a chocolate candy bar. And the boy happened to drop some of that chocolate, and it landed right on his leg, just like that. So now he has a brown spot of chocolate, a green grass spot, a red jam spot, and his own black spot. Well, a bee happened to buzz right over his head, And that bee had just been visiting a flower and had pollen all over its legs. And a little bit of that pollen fell right on Dog's ear. So now he had another spot. There was the yellow pollen spot, the brown chocolate spot, the green grass spot, the red spot of jam, and his own black spot. And he kept on walking along. He trotted through the park, and when he passed a girl, well, she dropped some ice cream, strawberry ice cream, right on his chin. Oop, and it dropped right off again. Let's get that on there. So now he has still another spot on himself. He has the pink ice cream, the yellow pollen, the brown chocolate, the green grass, the red jam, and his own black spot. I do wonder what happened to that paint. I think I saw it. Can you wait a second? It's right down by my toes. And I probably could have left it out of the story, but blue is my favorite color, so we'll get that back in there. But not yet. So he kept on walking along and realized, oh my goodness, he was hungry and it was time for him to go home. So he ran through the park going the other direction and ran right through a puddle, and he got some gray water splashed up on his belly. So now he has, I don't know how many spots, but he had the gray water spot, and he had the pink ice cream spot, the yellow pollen, the brown chocolate, the green grass, the red jam, and his own black spot. Well, just at the front gate, he saw a carton of orange juice that somebody had dropped, and he pounced on it, and when he did, splat! Some of that juice got right on his belly. So he has another spot. He has the orange juice, the gray water, the pink ice cream, the yellow pollen, the brown chocolate, the green grass. Do you remember what the red was? That was the first one he got. The red jam and his own black spot. Well, he ran through the front door, and the man had been there painting, and the dog brushed against the wet paint of the door, and he got some blue paint on himself. So let's see how many he has. Maybe we should just count them this time. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots. Oh my goodness. Well, Dog raced back inside the house, and he bumped the little girl who lived there. Her name was Vicky, and she had been coloring with her markers, and well, some of the purple marker got right on his head. So now Dog has 10 spots. And Vicky took a look at that dog, and she counted all his spots, and she saw he had 10 of them. There was the marker spot, and the orange juice, and the gray puddle, and the pink ice cream, the yellow pollen, the brown chocolate, the blue paint, that was a new one, the green grass, the red jam, and his own black spot. Well, she decided he needed, can you guess? A bath. So she gave him a bath, and she scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed all of those spots. And when Dog climbed into bed, well, he didn't have 10 spots anymore. No, he didn't. He had just his own black spot on his ear. Good night, Dog. What a colorful day you've had. And that's from a book by Emma Dodd. And we've got one more book, because we always like to finish with one of the Sandra Boynton books. So we're going to have the Going to Bed book. This is published by Little Simon. Well, the sun has set not long ago. Not yet here, but soon. Now everybody goes below to take a bath in one big tub with soap all over. Scrub, scrub, scrub. They hang their towels on the wall and find pajamas, big and small. And with some on top and some beneath, they brush and brush and brush their teeth. And when the moon is on the rise, they all go up to exercise. And then down once more, but not so fast. They're on their way to bed at last. The day is done. They say goodnight. And somebody turns off the light. I always wish I had somebody in this room who would turn off the light for me. Well, the night moon is high, the sea is deep, and they rock and rock and rock to sleep. So thank you for joining me for our Facebook Live Bedtime Story program. We'll keep this going on Wednesday night, so we hope you'll join us again. And if you don't watch it on Wednesday, you can always check it out on Facebook any other time or also on our YouTube channel. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you another time.